Hey, what's going on?
What's happening?
Going out live on a first remote pod for Aussies taking over the NBA. How about that, eh?
Sit, mate. Distance between us. It's too
Yeah.
great to overcome by car.
Yeah. What are we, Sunday? Let me just check the date up here since I'm in
It's the
front of a
fourth,
screen. The 4th.
fourth of the eighth. So we're
Um,
still, 2.5 months away from any kind of NBA action.
it's brutal, isn't it? It's just
It
killing me.
is. I couldn't wait for the season to be over. Now I'm like, oh, come on, let's watch some basketball. Work is boring. So
Yeah, savage. But yeah, no, it's good. Good to be back anyway on the pod. We've got plenty to talk about. We're going to go through some of the World Cup stuff. Go through, just a general chat about what's happening in the off season. Nothing much is really happening, really, is it?
no, pretty much just all the has been free agents up for grabs.
I'm repping
J.R.
me,
Smith.
repping me World Cup jersey, the yellow and gold. I'm getting ready for the tournament.
Yes, we've got a couple of warm-up games coming up this month. Four in total, 16th
Yeah,
and 17th, obviously against Canada in Perth. And then they play later, a couple of days later, against the USA, who is essentially the Boston Celtics featuring some has-beens, because everyone's pulled out of the tournament and everyone's blowing up about it in Australia. But this is the fickle nature of NBA players.
yeah.
They
So,
do not commit to bullshit games.
so we'll do a bit of a start. Like, just go on a rant. I'm just gonna double check the sound. I'm just messing with the stuff here completely. It's going out live, but
Whatever.
we're teething problems. Just give us your thoughts, basically, on what's happening with the Aussie team.
So essentially, the Aussie team is a bunch of people minus Thonmaker. Ryan Brokoff is obviously his wife's having a child.
Oh,
Um,
that's a bit, come on, mate. Suck up.
yeah, nah, mate. Yeah, exactly. Ben Simmons isn't playing.
Says us two guys who have just had kids and it's just completely
Oh,
ruined
sorry.
our life.
Yeah, man. I can safely say children are not fun. They're just sleep thieves, whinging machines. And obviously Dante Exum, who's still coming back from that patella tendon injury. Actually, before the pod started, you asked me, what are your thoughts for Exum this year? And I just said, snapped our Achilles in the third.
Don't jinx it, man. We can't have him going down injured again. I couldn't handle it.
Dude needs to take something because
Some,
some supplements of some kind because he's just injured all the time.
so I was having a look. There was an interesting video on YouTube where they were basically talking about his career, like one of those. Dante Exum was, a basketballer on the rise in 2000, like one of those full on, like doing the Discovery Channel style voice and everything.
Yeah,
And then like they catalogued his injuries, and you look at the injuries, and they're not like he's
they're not
had a
horrific.
recurring knee injury. This knee injury came
They're all
back. It's
different.
like they're all and mostly accident stuff. Like not like, oh, he's getting that knee again and he can't play because his knee is inflamed again. Like they're all like accidentally busted his ankle, accidentally busted his hip, accidentally had rib damage, like all the shoulder damage, like all of these things. So, and the way he plays the game too, he's not a like a lightweight type of player. Like he has size. He wants to use his size inside. He wants to get to the hoop regularly. So I wonder if
Slasher.
he's I don't know what he can do. Like there's nothing he really can do to fix that.
No, it's just about taking the right time to get to the rim, developing his outside game so you're putting less risk. Because essentially he's just a slasher. It's a fast-paced slasher. It doesn't really pull up much, just getting to the hoop as quickly as you can. So he needs to develop his outside game and a little bit of a mid-range game as well. But I'm hoping to see him in a successful Jazz unit this year and back for the World Cup. Not back for the World Cup, back for the Olympics or potentially the qualifiers that they might have to go through next year if we do not do well in the World Cup this year. But on to the World Cup, the Australian team still looks pretty good. We just got the news. We're in a tough group. Canada, obviously, but RJ Barrett's out for the whole World Cup with a calf strain.
Oh,
Tristan Thompson has not made himself available for the World Cup.
yeah.
So
that makes Canada better. Yeah, it's good.
yeah, they've got a couple of people wanting to play, but it's not.
Tristan Thompson's out, then they're a better team. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
That one just
yeah,
fell flat, completely flat. That joke.
yeah. He's not a base. He's 6'10". Come on, he's all right. Even though
He
he
would
doesn't
be an
understand.
interesting FIBA prospect, but
Yeah,
You know
kind
what I
of
mean?
big dude
Less,
just camping in the lane.
yeah, basically just sitting there blocking shots and hustling for boards and just going over the back of guys non-stop because you get a lot of leeway on the over-the-back calls in
You
FIBA.
do, you do indeed. But the most interesting one, obviously, we've got Canada, we've got Lithuania who are ranked sixth with no players in the NBA, so that just shows you that their team is pretty good. But Taco Fall has made himself available for Senegal and been picked. That's a 7-7 dude camping in the lane for FIBA rules.
So it'll be
Like,
really interesting to see how he goes, but
I mean, he can only play 20 minutes a game max, but still, that's 20 minutes of, oh shit, we've just literally got to take outside shots now. There is no way to get inside. He's 7-7
what
with
kind
an
of
8.
inside scoring do we have though, really?
Um, none.
Patty Mills likes to get to the rim. Simmons obviously not playing in the World Cup.
Maybe Bainsey with some tip-ins, but against a 7-7 dude, he's not a 7-7 beanpole either, which is so bizarre. Like he's got a bit of size to him. He's not that kind of Sudanese Thon Maker wispy build. He's like, oh, this dude's 7-7 and looks like he can lift, which is the most bizarre thing on earth. Like you see him against other people, and he does not look human. He looks like that, the gods they were talking about in the Babylonian times, just 7-7 monster. So
I want to see him and Boban standing side by side.
yeah, like he puts Boban to shame. It's ridiculous.
It's crazy.
Even Porzingis is 7-3 as well. So although Philly just signed a 7-4 center to their G League roster on a two-way. So as kind of the Boban-esque backup, because he can be used. Norvel Pele?
Novo Pele, eh? South American or something like that?
I don't know, probably French.
I'll Google that while we chat about some other stuff. So the Aussie team in general, has it been picked yet?
It hasn't been picked. They're still with 17 players. Look, it's most likely going to be an NBA stack roster, potentially with Chris Goulding as an outside shooting option. Mitch Creek is probably the only one that plays any inside ball, but at 6'4", 6'5", don't know how effective that's going to be with Taco Fall in the lane. And the Lithuanian team's pretty big as well. The Canadian team's a bit more wispy and fast-paced, but I'm expecting us to get out of the group stage. It's just how we do it.
Yeah. I'm just looking up the roster here. I'm just checking it out. Mitch Creek and Patty Mills are on the promotional material.
Yeah.
So we got Dengadell, Aaron Baines, Todd Blanchfield, Andrew Bogut, Jonah Bolden, Mitch Creek, Matthew Dellavedova, Cam Glidden, that's not a bad pick. He had a pretty good NBL season.
Did.
Chris Goulding, Joe Ingles, Nicholas Kay, Jock Landale, Mitch McCarron, who had another good NBL season, so that's pretty good. Patty Mills, Brock Motum, Ben Simmons, Nathan Sobey. But did Sobey pull out?
I don't think he'll get picked.
Nah, I'm not sure if he pulled out. Nathan Sobey pulled out. That's a good thing. Nah, Summer League, that's right. He pulled out of Summer League with an injury. That's what I was thinking of. The old Summer League. So that's not like, who have we got? We got Bogut and Bolden in the centers, Aaron Baines, Blanchfield, I think, is the center as well. Beyond that, Nick Kay, but beyond that, like, we don't have inside scoring, so going up against a guy like Taco Fall, it's not going to matter because we don't have predominantly inside scorers that are going to attack the basket downhill, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, it's a very, if you watch them in the last Olympics, man, it was just a pull up and shoot team. It's just Paddy pulling up and fucking hitting mad shots. It was just Delhi pulling up, hitting mad shots, Baines on tip-ins, Bogut with those little lefty hooks. There's nothing really that's, without Exum, there's nothing really outside of Mitch Creek that's kind of get to the rim. Even Bolden's a stretch four hitting the three ball semi-consistently. So, yeah, it's a lot of outside shooting, which will suit against a team like Senegal that does have that massive center and will suit against, I think, even Canada in that respect. I haven't seen Lithuania in a while. They always seem to be in the top 10, but you just never know what they're going to bring to the table.
The European teams always, they play a different type of, like, the real FIBA entrenched basketball. You know what I mean? They play
Yeah.
a FIBA style. It's very skill based. It's not athletic based. So that's why they kind of sometimes surprise the top teams with this different type of play. Spain was a little bit like that back in the late 90s, early 2000s, where
Yeah,
the USA...
but they had the Gasol brothers and Rodriguez, and they had some good players like Raul Neto and
Raul Neto.
Well, they're all
Ricky Rubio, you mean?
Ricky Rubio, Raul Neto as well.
Raul Neto would only have been like about 9 or 10 back then.
He's 37.
Raul Neto? No, he's only young, isn't he? Raul Neto's 27.
27.
Easy. So we'll meet you halfway on that one.
I'll meet you halfway on that one. Back to Philly. They signed Chris Kumeje, who is 7'4".
Brick that name. Chris Kumeje.
It's Christ, or Christ, Christ.
Oh,
Kumeje.
We'll have to have a look at that. Obviously, we'll go through our preseason stuff in a month or two. We'll be able to. Obviously, we're broadcasting out live remotely, so we might be able to bring you some more in-depth stuff.
And Raul Neto's Brazilian as well, so that's me just being fucking ridiculous.
Who?
Raul Neto's Brazilian. I'm confused. Yeah,
I've lost the headphones. I've lost it.
I've lost it. Lost it all.
But yeah, no, it should be. So, I don't know, Joe Ingles, I was listening to some of his comments, and he seemed very just turn up and just be, happy to be there. And I was kind of thinking, how's he going to fit into this team? Like, he loves to spot up in the corner, right? Or shoot, from the trail out three from 11 o'clock. And he can handle the ball too. So there's a few wrinkles in there, we can use him. But when he was sort of speaking, I was listening to him, and he just sounded like, just turn up for a bit of holiday. It'll be a bit of fun with the boys, I'm like, yeah, but fuck, that throws a decent wrinkle. Even Goulding's a guy that can handle the ball. We've got Patty Mills and Dellavedova, Mitch McCarron.
You obviously got Dengadell as well, who, we've got no Thon for this World Cup, which is a bit of a shame. But you got Dengadell, guys that can potentially bring it in the inside. Although it's such an outside shooting based team, it's ridiculous.
This Aussie team.
Yeah, it's literally it's a spot up shooting team with some inside presence that can camp in the lane.
Because you look at Cam Glidden can shoot the ball, but he can get to the hoop. I think he's a 6'6", sort of like wiry type guard. But beyond that, in terms of the guards, they're more traditional point guards. I'm not sure how that'll set us apart. Oh, we got Jock Landale in the squad. I think he deserves to go to the World Cup as well, because he's had a great year in Partisan.
Yeah, definitely.
And then had a great summer league with the Bucks.
And he's the only center we have that can shoot the three ball, except Bainesy in the corner. But I think he shoots it at a higher percentage and higher volume than Bainesy. But when you play, I definitely say Bainesy is warranted in this team, because you need a big body if you're going to take on a 7'7" monster.
So we got the Boomers in Canada on August 16. What's that? That's a couple of weeks away.
Yeah.
The Boomers in Canada again on the 17th, so the day after, back to back, and then we've got the Boomers USA on the 22nd, the Boomers 24th as well, on the 24th rather, and a little bit of controversy, all the USA stars are pulling out, so people are losing their shit because they paid a lot of money to go to these games. But to me, I just look at that and think, you paid money to go and watch a spectacle. I don't know how many people would have been duped into thinking, Kevin Durant and James Harden are definitely coming out for this one. I
don't think it was ever that. I think it was always Ben Simmons. 50,000 people here to see Ben Simmons.
For sure.
Like I was saying to you the other day, if we were playing the Tall Blacks in the World Cup warm-up and Ben Simmons was like, I'm playing and locked in, they'd sell it at any stadium in Australia. People want to see him play at home. They want to see him. He's our best chance as a country to ever have an MVP caliber player in the NBA, and a guy who's pretty committed to playing for Australia in the long term as well. So you kind of want to have that, and you want to see what it's about. You want to see what this team can bring, because it's even not about the World Cup. Is that all the American players will turn up for the Olympics. That's what they do. They don't play any other tournaments, but they seem to like playing the Olympics and winning the gold medal. We could potentially do that next year. We've got a young guy in Josh Green coming through. We've got a couple of other good talent prospects coming through. that would be 19, 20. Guys that are growing, Dengadell, Bolden, Thon. I think it's actually a good thing that Thon withdrew from this tournament to focus on his game and how it fits in with the Detroit Pistons, because he's really raw. He's got some good skill there. He's a 7'1", wispy power forward. Like we could have a really good offering at power forward, and have a good center and have a lineup that is 6'10" and above. With Josh Green, Dengadell or Joe Ingles at small forward, 6'7", and Josh Green at 6'5" at the 2. So we could move beyond
Josh
that
Green,
traditional.
6'5"?
Yeah, 6'4", 6'5".
Wow. He's only 19 too. He's going to be in next year's draft.
Next year's draft. But we got a couple other Aussies come through. McCurmaker.
Yeah.
McCurmaker is the one, the 7-foot point guard.
That looked weird watching him play like that.
Oh, it looked weird, but pulling up from everywhere, just doing it.
Still so smooth as well.
So smooth. It's like watching Anthony Davis play, but not Anthony Davis. So that's going to be an interesting prospect. These guys have all committed to Australia. So we could potentially have a 7-foot lineup in a FIBA tournament, coming into next year. You just don't know. It's beyond hard, I think, to break into this Australia team, but it shows you that we have got the next generation of talent coming through when guys like Baines, Bogut, who probably will, I'd say Bogut, its farewell tour would be next year.
Yeah,
I don't really see
one of these years. I think you're going to see sort of Bainesy phased out a little bit as well in the next couple of years. If you look at the other hopefuls, like you got Mitch Creek's probably got another sort of 4-year cycle in him.
See, for my mind, that dude deserved an NBA contract. Yeah. You look at some of the quality in the NBA, and you think this guy's 6'5", but yet he plays 6'8". Like he doesn't seem like
you
can play him
forward,
plays a power forward, plays it well, gets in there. Very disappointed, but I don't think he was going to get the contract he deserved going over there. And he's on a marquee wicket back in South Melbourne, Phoenix. So
yeah, that'd be great.
That's all good.
Yeah,
you can't bring in quality back to the NBL, but look, the NBL for the other thing is it's put that product on a standpoint. So I don't know if you know, but I was reading an article. ESPN outbid Fox Sports for that.
Yeah, ESPN. And it's because of that Next Star stuff, the Rising Star.
Yeah,
so.
It's LaMelo Ball. Yeah. They know that Americans are going to watch this now because there's three
and RJ
really
Hampton
good.
As well.
RJ Hampton, but some of the Kings. So these guys.
How good was it when Bogut, obviously, when he went over to the US, to the NBA rather, like on that stint with the Warriors? Every outlet, like every game, every sort of outlet that was talking about these things that were happening was saying Sydney Kings like 7-8 times on those outlets. Yeah. Sydney Kings.
MVP.
Kings, so good for the league, like MVP of the Sydney Kings. And then every meme page had like LaMelo Ball's coming down under, and he'd just be in a full Kings outfit. And he's just like, yes, I love this. Like, this is great.
Yeah.
Eyes on the league, eyes on the NBL and stuff like that. And RJ Hampton coming down. Didi Luzada coming down for Sydney as well. He looks like a good prospect, drafted 35. The other thing, like, are they're changing the G League structure?
So well, no, Adam Silver wants to go direct back to 18 draft, not 19. So they want to get rid of this one and done college stuff because it's the college system is a multi-billion-dollar empire that's paid on exploiting people for no reason. Oh, you get a college degree. No, these guys don't. It's one and done. They have to go somewhere. But I think the Next Stars program will still get guys that are drafted, 20 to 40 or 20 to 60 that, want to build their game, that are not going to break into an NBA roster and come out here and potentially do that. I think that's a good initiative to get.
It's fantastic.
Hey, it's great for our game. If we build our game, it's only going to make things better for local talent and bringing guys through and hopefully building the league. We're at 9 teams now. I'd like to see it get back up to 12, 13 team, 12, 13 team tournament. We had a couple of teams. Townsville Crocs have obviously went bust. I think they should come back in. Newcastle, getting a second Sydney team on potentially. It needs to grow, and I think that'll give more young players the ability to play here. And go over and we've seen a couple of guys go over and crack it in the G League and do well. Obviously, Isaac Humphries signing for the Magic on a 2-way. Dengadell signing a Brooklyn 1-year deal, which is going to be awesome. He's there with Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving. May not break in a team, maybe playing G League, but you see these guys get 10-day contracts down the line a lot of the time because of injuries towards the end of the season. So I think there's a really good basis. But also the G League is now looking at getting these kind of next stars as well and paying them a quality wage as marquees so that they don't have to go to Europe. They don't have to go to Australia. So it's going to be interesting to see what they want to do because, Australia is an interesting choice to play basketball, and it's a completely different rule set. Obviously, the G League plays NBA rules. We play FIBA rules. So it'll be interesting to see what they choose over as opposed to playing in their own rule set or going to a different rule set. The other thing is that you come back here and you play with seasoned pros. These guys have been professional for years. They play in the teams. You play in a system. Whereas in the G League, it's a roll the dice every season.
Yeah.
Different coach, different system. You're not coming into a system. You're coming into a completely new event of slapstick. So I think they need to get that kind of sorted as well in America because right now it's a new team every year. There's no follow through, different coaching staff all the time. But when you come and play the NBL, you're playing under a system.
Because I was thinking about it like the English football type where they have like 90, I think there's 92 clubs across their entire footballing landscape going from the top, Championship, League 1, 2, 3.
It's got to be more than that. What's it? 20. Oh, yeah, 92. I suppose you got North and South as well.
Yeah, I think it's
League North, League South.
I think it's
three divisions. Three divisions
of 20, and then there's 3 lots of 18, 16, or 17 or something like that. But the way, like, they're very, academy based. Like, you play in our academy, you stay from the age of 14 all the way through to the age of 21, and if you don't make it, you're free to test the market and go wherever you like. Whereas the NBA seems less happy for their guys to go places. Like, they're like, no, we want you. But then obviously with the G League jumble, you know what I mean? Like, it takes that away, takes that thing away. Like, I'd prefer them to sort of go, right, you play for this club, you grow through for this club. But then again, like, they get such a hype train way before they've even done anything too.
Yeah.
Whereas in English football, like, there's no, like, you can't build, I've got a massive off the court portfolio by the time I'm 18 years old. Like, look at LaMelo Ball has like 3.2 million followers. And then I think the NBL has like 200,000 followers, or the Sydney Kings or Illawarra Hawks or whatever has 200,000 followers on his. Like, how incredible is that to have the player that they sign have more Instagram followers than the club itself? Like, that's just phenomenal. Like, it'll boost it. Yeah, great advertisement.
Sell a few jerseys, get a few people in.
People are going to watch it, man. They're going to want to see this guy play. Like, I've been thinking about it. Like, even RJ Hampton signing for the Breakers. Like, you would think the Breakers. Like, we watched it last year, just being like, the Breakers are trash. Like, even like Sean Long leaving, and then some other guys leaving. But suddenly RJ Hampton signs there. There was those big Carmelo rumors as well. It's phenomenal to see the traction that the league is getting. But I think the other thing too is culturally, it fits perfectly for what these kids want to do. Like, you don't have to go to Europe, learn new languages, play in different systems where there's different languages, different cultures. Australia, it's summer too. Like, you come play in Australia and it's like, sweet. It's like the summer in Australia. Like, it's like they play college and then they come down to a summer rather than
a winter
type thing. So how many people would be? Yeah, boss, I'll go for a year over in Australia for a year. Sweet, no problems. You'd be all over that in the summer.
Yeah,
and then, it's a type of league that isn't heavily physical too. Like, it's kind of a little bit physical, but the FIBA rules don't let you be that physical on the FIBA court. Like, it's smaller, it's different type of action. But everything I've listened to, everything I've read about it, they don't care about the players' physical presence on the court. Like, they're not looking at these guys going, ooh, like, he's playing like this and we don't like. They talk to these guys about their attitude, like how they're training, how they're preparing. Are they a guy who wants to grow and get better? Like, they don't care really that much about the stats. Like, I was been looking through the stats for Kingsdime where Brian Bowen's stats were terrible, like 6.5 points a game on 15 minutes.
Yeah, but that was playing in a very bad system.
But we know that. But anyone looking on a stats page, like a GM, from us as fans going to and talking for GMs, but you're going to look at that and just go, 6.5 points a game, like 4 rebounds a game, like 3 assists. Like, Jesus, what was he doing over there? But by all accounts, the Pacers scouts weren't even looking at that. We don't care what the stats are, man. We just want to know he's preparing properly. Is he keeping his body healthy? Does he have a good attitude?
Yeah. Is he a professional?
Yeah,
has he become a professional? Yeah.
Which I thought was really fascinating. Like, I was listening to a few NBL podcasts, and they were talking about that. The GM of the Sydney Kings, I can't think of what his name is off the top, Van Groningen, I think it was. And he was saying, like, all these clubs don't care. They don't care about what's happening on the court. They care about what the player is as a player itself, as an acquisition, as a piece. Whereas us fans, we care about what's happening on the court. So we want to see crazy stuff happening, like LaMelo Ball coming in and RJ Hampton coming in. Like, we want to see crazy things going on and going, yeah, this is great for the league. And it is. It's growing. I think two more teams would be, because the league's uneven now with the Phoenix. I think it's 9 teams. So is there going to be like a bye or something? What's going to happen?
It's three games each, 27 games.
And then...
So it used to be 4 games each at 8.
Yeah.
Now it's going to be 3 games each.
Well, that'd make it pretty interesting. We found when we were watching it last year, though, random things were happening. Like, some teams got out by 7 games when other teams had played 4 games and stuff like that. There were some weird things happening. But I think it's important, if the G League doesn't restructure, and the NBA itself, if we're looking at it from the NBA's perspective, I would be trying to promote these kids to go down there. Like, we'll work with you to make it better. Like, the ESPN stuff's good. Like, we're going to work with you to make sure we can get more of our guys to go down there. But I don't know how this G League thing is going to restructure, how that's going to change that, really.
Yeah. Well, it will be seen once, these guys go to 18-year-old drafting again. Amir Johnson's the last person in that league to be drafted at 18.
18 years old, right? Yeah.
Yeah. So it's been many, many years since that. But it's also, I think, what we need to do is get the guys that are 34, 35, bring them down under his marquees. Why can't we sign? If Carmelo can't get a gig back here, fucking bring him down for a farewell tour. Bring him down to Australia. It's 27 games. You're not going to hurt your body. That's right. Money, pay it. ESPN will pay it. Americans will watch. Americans will watch Carmelo Anthony play in Australia. I can tell you that now. He's still got a lot of fans. They're going to be interested to see what he can do. He's the most prolific scorer for Team USA, so he knows FIBA rules pretty well.
He just nukes people in FIBA, man, like shooting 3 balls. I remember that Aussie game here, and even that Olympics, he was just nuking teams from the 3-point line. But I don't know, like, I don't think they have the money really to pay him. But I look at that and I go, dude, you made heaps of money. Like, do you really just play basketball? But I guess he wants the package.
If you want love for the game, well, he's only going to get $2.5 million into the NBA wherever he goes. No one's paying him more than that, man. Can the NBL rustle up $2.5 million to pay for him to come here and play? Or not $2.5 million. It's the thing is, I think what Andrew Bogut showed is that you got a roster, an open roster spot coming down the edge. NBL's finished. Let's sign you. Let's get you in for the rest of the season. Well, it's possible. Why don't you come and showcase your talent here and try and get in the back end on a team that's going to the playoffs?
It was a pretty unique situation, though. The Warriors left the roster spot open for a long time where, hey, if they had filled that roster spot with a wing, they might have been winning a championship, But they took a gamble on knowing that Bogut would finish that season and they bring him in. But by that time, the way their team was structured, it was not a bad idea. And then Boogie ended up getting injured. Like, it was kind of insurance on Boogie, but I don't think many teams are going to really do that. Like, leave a spot open till that late.
It's not about it's that they've all got two-way. They've all got two-way spots available, right? And they're not guaranteed. So they can waive a two-way, send him to the G League, and open up a spot for anyone in the NBL to come and play. That's really what it is. It's a two-way contract. You can get signed. You may not be the 12 on the bench, but there's an open roster spot in any team. Because how many 10-day two-ways were signed by all the teams going into the back end of the season? So we know that there's always roster spots. So does Carmelo come out and make a name for it and show that he's still got it and potentially get an open roster spot on the back end of the season? It's the same for a lot of guys.
Yeah, there's nothing stopping him from doing that.
There's nothing stopping him at all, because I think that he needs to prove himself that he's a professional again. And, there's a lot of guys in that. J.R. Smith, just like, I'm just going to wig out for a year because I don't like Cleveland Cavaliers. What GM would hire him? Who would have J.R. Smith? He's a franchise killer. what he should have done is, yeah, boys, I'll play with whoever. You know, you're all good. I'll be a mentor. Let's get in, even though we're going to have a bad season. He's like, no, man, I'm out. It's just like, no one's going to hire you now. Why would anyone hire you to fill a roster spot? You're toxic. Go away. Get out of the league. If he wants to play, come and play in Australia. You know, you're gonna have a starting 5 spot no matter how old you are here. Show that you're professional and go back and sit on the bench and come off the bench for an NBA team coming down the stretch. I think that's potentially what it's showed. But it'd be interesting to see if that ever happens.
Which team would he fit? Taipans.
Yeah, just somewhere where he's just far, far away from civilization.
It's a bit harsh. Yeah, so it's it's hard with no NBA happening. There's really not much happening.
No.
With that big free agency storm that happened, a lot of like I said, there's going to be so much different this year. This league is just, I don't think this has really happened in the history of the NBA in the last 20 years, where all these teams, total redistribution of the league. Complete
and utter turnover, and really has been thrown wide open. You'd have to say that the Clippers, from Kawhi, the Kawhi factor, and the fact that they took Golden State to 6 games, 5 or 6 for 6 games.
6, yeah, it was
6 games with a pretty nothing team, just a pest of a team. You'd say that they've improved significantly. I think that the Lakers experiment will fail again. I definitely think they've got to make the playoffs with LeBron and AD, but the depth of roster is just a whole bunch of has-beens. Rondo, Boogie.
It's the Pelicans. You were telling me it's the Pelicans from.
It's the Pelicans via. It's the 2016 Pelicans via the 2014 Sacramento Kings. Man, it's just they didn't win then. Move on. So.
But you never know, man. I called last year the LeBron just let's have a party year, and it kind of was that. Like, it was sort of that. And then by the end of the year, they just binned off all these players, just clean house.
Like, that Lance Stevenson, I'd consider him a good pivotal bench piece, man. He's off in China now.
Yeah, but...
$4 million. Yeah, but...
Those players are kind of like a dime a dozen, really.
Yeah, they're a dime a dozen, but you wouldn't mind a guy with a mid-range and long game coming off the bench averaging 6 or 7 points. He's a good defender as well.
Yeah, pest guy.
Bit of a pest. He's out. There's been a few exoduses. It just came out in the paper that someone offered Mirotic, the Bulls offered Mirotic 3 years, $45 million. He turned it down to go back to Europe.
Yeah, but then is Bobby Porter still on that team?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's probably why, because Bobby Porter and him had that massive fight. I think they were punched on in practice or something, and then they both got banned. So that's probably why he turned down the Bulls.
For $45 million, though, it's just like, man, you'd suck your pride up for that money. But I think he's getting paid $12 million a season at Barcelona, so
yeah,
not bad.
You would do that, man. Go to Spain, like he's a European guy. It's not like he's from the US or something like that, and going
drink sangria.
Yeah, sip sangria and shoot some hoops over in Barcelona.
Indeed.
So what else can we cover?
That's pretty much it, man. It's been a bit of a quiet time. Ben Simmons' mid-range game looks like it's improving.
Yeah.
Hitting some fadeaway threes.
Shoot some. Shoot them, man.
Trash time. He only has to do this in trash time. Just, all right, Ben, stay on with 30 up, you are just going to shoot now. Everyone pass to Ben, he's going to shoot. And put on a 40, 50-point display against the Suns or against the Magic or against, the Bulls.
The problem is, he's so dangerous downhill. Once he gets off a screen, 2 or 3 steps, he can just get to the hoop.
Yeah, but the thing is, okay, the whole point of the mid-range game is not to shoot mid-range. It's the threatening of that he can hit a mid-range jumper, because it brings the defender out, opens up a lane, and then he's just going to get past him and dunk. So it just opens up the paint. It opens up space for Joel Embiid to play down on the low block. It opens up the game, and then you've got a whole bunch of shooters around you. Josh Richardson with mid-range, Jonah Bolden at the 4 potentially shooting, Al Horford. These guys can all shoot the 3 ball if you open up space. It's like Antetokounmpo, but a guy that is probably more dominant defensively in the paint and definitely on the 3-point line. It's a different game. And I think the Bucks have probably, their team is weakened as opposed to last year. I mean, they added Kyle Korver, but he hasn't really done much last few seasons. Their team's weakened, obviously losing Brogdon. Bledsoe goes missing every now and then, especially in the finals, whereas the Sixers just added ridiculous amounts of depth. And if Simmons can shoot a 3-ball, well, you'd have to say that it's their favourite to win the East, purely based on if he hits a 3-ball at 33%, really. Because how many silly plays does he do when he has no options? He's just like, oh, I've got to pass. The same as Draymond Green. You look when they get stuck in set and it's not in transition. A lot of turnover. There's a lot of silly plays that lead to turnover, and if you just hit 1 in 3 of those 3 balls and take the shot, you're going to be up on teams.
I'm just trying to look up the over-unders because we did over-unders last year. We should actually just do a quick go back to that.
I think you beat me. Did I even hit any?
Hey.
Did I even hit any over-unders?
Let's not spoil it. We'll probably dedicate like a full episode to going back in all its glory. So I can gloat about how I got 4 picks right.
Did I get any right?
Yeah,
just
you got a few. I don't have Excel on this computer, so I can't look at my new computer. I can't look at the yeah, it's just a mission to go and do that right now. We'll have to dedicate a whole episode to looking at it, I think.
We will. Some cool things coming up though. We probably should talk about it. Is that video is now going to be part of this, potentially of this podcast.
Yep.
And Aussie plays of the week and getting in for that for you guys. We're going to start a Patreon account so that we can bring you guys more content and get that up and running.
Yeah, we'll work on that for the next couple of months, I think, and work on some ideas of bringing some new stuff. New
content. Obviously, we can remote pod now, so that's going to save a lot of time.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's going to be a whole new bunch of content this year. We're really looking forward to getting it done and probably the most interesting NBA season for a number of years. I think.
Yeah. Especially for Aussies, like the last 2 years were so good for Aussies. We were kind of on the wave, the crest of the wave. But now I think we're going over. I think we're going to get a few more guys from Europe and stuff start to come over as well, and really get chances in the G League and really get chances to showcase their talent. Guys like Landale, Dengadell, I think it's going to be a lot better. It's a shame Mitch Creek, man. He was probably the one that you just went, wow, why isn't this guy like on a crap team, being like a floor general at point guard, point forward. You know what I mean? Like he could have fit one of those crap teams, and you just look at him play and you're just like, why isn't like a Chicago or a Minnesota
I think
or a team like that?
Yeah, Minnesota would have been perfect fit. Absolutely no one on their team except Cat and Wiggins, who they're trying to shop around for the worst contract ever. But anyway,
worse than Chris Paul's.
Yeah, Chris Paul at least had bravado at one time.
That's true. Veteran presence. All right, yeah. Well, we'll have to just start thinking of some more stuff to podcast. This was a successful, first remote stream. I got stuff. Cool. I got like an empty room in the background. It's pretty good. I got
a window.
You're back in the old room,
back in the old room
that we've been podcasting in for so long.
Indeed.
You'll have to turn your stuff around. You have to sit back in my seat. That way the light's on you and we can't see.
That's all right. We don't need to see me. It's all about my voice.
Yeah, it's all about just the mic and you just crouched in there talking about NBA.
I like NBA. All right, guys.
All right, peeps. Take it easy, everyone. Take it easy. See ya.
Peace out. Peace.